Welcome to Weather Center here at the Weather Channel. I'm Paul Emmick. We'll take a look at our stormy conditions, and there's quite a bit of that to see, especially across the Midwest here. For the late night hours, still many storms across parts of Iowa, Wisconsin, even the UP of Michigan. Severe thunderstorm warning still in effect now around Marquette. Let's take a look into what's happening as we look across the U.S. And still looking at some stormy conditions across the Midwest. In Mackinac County now, a severe thunderstorm warning. Many severe thunderstorm warnings still in effect across Iowa. A few into Wisconsin as well. Still a pretty stormy night. So the weather could be at its worst. A tornado watch is in effect across parts of Wisconsin, also across the UP of Michigan. Tornado watch, of course, means conditions favorable for tornadoes and other severe weather events. Of course, the dynamics are such that tornadoes are indeed still a possibility. Severe thunderstorm watch, Wisconsin, Illinois, Iowa, even a bit of Missouri and Nebraska. Might be seeing kind of a little rough weather here a little bit longer. We'll take a look at that, especially some storms coming in toward Cedar Rapids here in just a few moments. Western U.S., pretty quiet time across parts of Northern California. A little bit on the windy side. Still maybe a bit breezy for us a while tonight. Not a lot of active weather, really. We could use the wet weather for the Northwest, but not seeing an appreciable amount of it. A few showers even into Montana, fading away a little. Not seeing a lot of surface indications of this wet weather around Denver. May not see a situation where all of it might make it to the surface, but a little bit of drizzle here or there. Probably a pretty safe bet here a little bit longer tonight. Accumulating rain should stay across bits of Idaho and out into Montana, maybe a tenth of an inch or so. Quick look at the temperatures. Hot one for Denver, 91. Still a warm day for Vegas. Made it to 105. At around Henderson and Summerlin, nice day. Looking at a 108 where we had for Phoenix. 75 for San Diego. In L.A. we had 84. Another warm day on tap for Tuesday. A little bit cooler for the Northwest. As far as the specifics, 113 to Palm Springs, 75 to San Diego, 70 for Santa Barbara. Nice, a warm one for the Bay, 82. A little warmer along Interstate 80 and onto Blue Canyon. Beautiful location. Good temperature, too, around 70. Of course, we could do without the warmth, given the energy consumption problems in California with the rolling blackouts today and that kind of thing. When you get up here in the triple digits, everybody's running the air conditioner, and this consumption goes up so much. It'd be nice to get a few cool days. We'll have to wait a few days for that to happen. We'll take a look at our weekend, too, coming up in the weekend outlook just a few moments away. Temperature of a high, kind of a warm day here. 76 toward Yakima, 70 for Spokane, and 67 toward Seattle. A little cooling around Portland tonight. We're down to 65. On the Bay, it's 60. Down to 58 in toward Monterey, or 56 rather. 78 for Sacramento. But around town, 73 for San Jose, and even about a 65 toward Napa. Not too bad. 96 for Palm Springs, 68 to San Diego. Downtown L.A., we're at 66 right now, but we've got a 74 to Burbank, 69 toward Anaheim. Let's talk of quakes for a moment. Southern California reporting a 2.8 magnitude. That was just to the southeast of Calexico, California, by some 22 miles. A 2.7 magnitude. That was northwest, the town of Big Bear Lake. Also looking a bit further north, a couple reported, including a 2.3 magnitude. That was just southwest of Coso Junction. Also a 2.2. That was east-southeast of Coso Junction. A little bit further north, into Oregon, around Maupin, a 2.6 magnitude on the Richter scale. Several reports of quakes into some central and southern sections of Alaska, but no specifics available on those, but all those in the range of around a 2 magnitude. Across the western U.S., well, looking at a pretty quiet time of it. Nothing much going on as far as active weather goes. We could use some cooling, but won't see that for a while. A little breezy at times in Northern California, but otherwise a very, very quiet day. Starting out a little cloudy downtown L.A., around 63 degrees. We'll push the clouds back toward the beaches. Wind up around 81 for the Civic Center. 71 to San Diego, nice towards Santa Barbara. Around Sacramento, nice start, warm finish. Now it's a hot finish, 101. Another warm day toward the Bay Area as well. Around Point Reyes, the Golden Gate Rec area. Lots of warmth to enjoy outside, though. 51 toward Seattle and 52 toward Portland. Warming up nicely toward the afternoon along Interstate 5. Not too bad of a day for the commute. Looking at some fairly bright conditions for the Northwest. Just a few stray clouds. Let's look at the western U.S. Problems continue across the Midwest. Big storms along with that big front. Enough lift, enough moisture, enough instability, plus all the proper upper level support. We've got a recipe here for storms a bit longer. Now it's a little wet in the parts of Florida, but stormiest across the Midwest. Northeast, not a great deal of active weather. Little batch of storms moving in, giving us a few stray sprinkles in upstate, but don't expect to see a lot of accumulation from this rain. Not that big of an ordeal. Pretty quiet day, nice day for New York City and Boston coming up, fine toward Philly and D.C. and Baltimore. Well, speaking of the same, Boston, we're at 73, 74 to the city, 72 on toward Philly, and 74 for Cleveland. Across the Midwest, few showers into Michigan, but along the front, in the warm sector. And that's where the big storms are firing up. Very common to see a cold front moving in, meaning it's the leading edge of a colder, or in this case at least a cooler air mass. Cooler air behind it works to drag in lots of moisture ahead of it. The spinning moisture magnet winds are pulled in here in a counterclockwise manner, so lots of moisture gets kicked up. Parts of Wisconsin, very, very heavy rain at times, and even some spots, Wisconsin and Iowa, might pick up amounts well in excess of an inch. Problems in the short term from the severe weather risk. A couple of areas still with a tornado watch, including bits of Wisconsin, also in the UP. Another little sliver over there, parts of Minnesota into Wisconsin. And severe thunderstorm prospects with our severe thunderstorm watch. All right, taken as a big picture, looks like a lot of wet weather moving on. I mentioned some spots may see well in excess of an inch. Could see very heavy amounts where some of those storms may kind of linger a while. Most of them are moving through pretty fast, but you get a couple of storms coming through. You can see a great deal of rain in a short amount of time. Storms moving through the UP are just flying. This one around Marquette in a hurry. I mean, it's moved through about 60 miles per hour. On around Mackinac County right now, a severe thunderstorm warning. Across Wisconsin, still stormy, bit to the south of Ironwood and north of Rhinelander. That's where the wettest and stormiest conditions still happen to be. Twin Cities were fine, again stormy in toward Eau Claire, Wisconsin. Across Iowa, along that line, now moving through Cedar Rapids in toward Dubuque, right through there. These storms are pushing on anywhere from about 30 to 40 miles per hour, moving on toward the east. Parts of Missouri, storms as of late here in the northwestern section. Still a bit stormy parts of Nebraska, as well as into central Kansas, even along Interstate 70. You have driving plans, maybe dealing with some driving rain as you make that trek across the interstate. So give yourself a little extra time to reach your destination safely. Darkest green spots there, parts of the UP southward we could see well in excess of an inch. So a lot of rain to come. Temperatures now 83, mild night in Chicago, isn't it? Around 65 into Minneapolis, St. Paul. Southern U.S. incredibly quiet, but for a few sprinkles offshore the Carolinas and bits of coastal Georgia. A few sprinkles here and there in South Florida and Central Florida. Rain kind of drying up a little. We can use the rain. Don't expect to see a great deal of accumulation. Maybe a little in South Florida, but not really a lot of wet relief. Temperatures, we could use some relief from that tonight. Dallas 79, 74 toward Atlanta, 77 to Birmingham, still a mild 80 around South Beach in Miami. That's the big picture of precip. We'll discuss our storms and implications of this on traveling conditions coming up in travel-wise just a few moments. Very quiet for the west, still stormy, some coming in toward Detroit, even around Chicago. Wouldn't rule out the chance of a storm or two for the morning. Kansas City, St. Louis could be stormy for the afternoon. Scattered wet weather once again across Florida, but still pretty active with big storms along the front. Amounts of precip, heaviest right there where you see that dark green. As far as the cool air, very cool start to our day. Parts of Montana and the Dakotas as well. A little bit cooler behind that front, but still the warmth hangs on across the northeast, midwest, and southeast, even the mid-Atlantic. Big-time heat across the southwest. We'll get details with TravelWise next.
Drive like Tiger? No problem. The Buick Classic is payday for the pros and you. $400 golf bonus cash from Buick is back. Total cashback offers now range from $1,650 to $3,400 on all 2001 Buick models. Think of it. $1,650 total cash back on Century and Regal. $1,900 on LeSabre. $3,400 on Park Avenue Ultra. Luxury is even more affordable at your Buick dealer.
It's all good.
Got enough of you, baby.
I can take pain, but I can't take sunscreen that runs into my eyes and stings.
Coppertone Sports Sunscreen, ultra sweat-proof.
I can take on any height. What I can't take is sunscreen that affects my grip.
Coppertone Sports, ultra dry.
I can take on any wave, but I can't take sunscreen that washes right off.
Coppertone Sport, waterproof. So no matter how you take on the sun, there's only one choice. Coppertone Sport, the #1 preferred sports sunscreen.
Go to coppertone.com for a chance to win a mountain bike or windsurfer.
What will you ask me?
I've been waiting to talk to you.
Oh, bless you.
Because I know you got something to tell me.
I see a card of police documentation and then someone watching you very closely, all right?
I know exactly who you're talking about,
Yeah.
and I can't believe that you can see that.
Who are all these other older men around you? Do you have a lot of men in your family?
Yes, my grandmother had 6 sons.
You're really afraid at night, honey.
I am.
Yeah, 4
Oh, my
nights. The last 4
gosh.
nights you've been scared to death,
Yeah.
all right?
I can't sleep at night. Well, I can't believe you knew that.
You don't trust him, so that's a problem.
Yeah.
Honey, I'm on my way.
Oh, my goodness.
You hear me? On my way probably means about 2.5 hours.
Oh, you got it. You
Yeah.
got it.
Are you afraid that someone is keeping a secret from you? Call now for a free tarot reading and discover the truth today.
Miss Cleo, you are the best.
Call 1-800-788-5196.
Right now, it's your local forecast on the Weather Channel.
Still stormiest across the Midwest. A little wet weather moving across some northern sections right now of upstate New York, and also dealing with a few showers kind of coming through parts of Florida. Now, the worst of it, though, still happens to be right along that front. Severe weather threat a little bit longer, and right on through the midday hours tomorrow. Then toward the afternoon could be active, even Kansas City, St. Louis, kind of a heads up. Between now and about mid-morning, that's the worst spot, where you see the red shade, parts of Kansas, including along Interstate 70 and toward Kansas City, as well as across Iowa, Cedar Rapids, western parts of Illinois, like around Rockford, on in toward Wisconsin, including Madison and Milwaukee. Northward across the UP, that's where the worst of it may be. Tornado watch remains in effect. A little bit of Minnesota and Wisconsin, also into the UP. A tornado watch here means conditions favorable for tornadoes in these areas. And bits of Wisconsin, northwestern Illinois, big chunk of Iowa, a bit of Missouri and Nebraska. A severe thunderstorm watch. Might see additional severe thunderstorm warnings. Now, actually, in most of these areas, you're seeing information on your screen as you watch the Weather Channel. In many areas, you will see that. And good thing, too, because big storms are still firing through, especially Iowa right now. Let's look at everything in detail. A little rainfall still across the UP, but these storms are moving in a hurry into right onto Mackinac County. Severe thunderstorm warning. The cell howling out of the east around 50 miles an hour. So still pretty stormy. A couple of spots here. Even around Mackinac and Marquette, we've been kicking up the storms here lately. In around Wisconsin, too. I mentioned the storms. Some kind of pushing on through Eau Claire and toward Rhinelander. Even around Madison, expect to get a bit wet, but quiet toward the Twin Cities. Very strong line now scooting through Cedar Rapids in toward Dubuque. Big storms here a bit longer across parts of Missouri, popping in the last hour, so kind of exploding in northwestern Missouri. Even Nebraska and Kansas stormy a little bit longer. Into Florida, a few showers north central Florida, Gainesville and Ocala. Might see a little rain there. Might see some rainfall along Interstate 75 for the western U.S. A few sprinkles here and there in Montana. A little drizzle off and on in parts of Colorado. May see some around Denver as well. That's a big picture of precip coast to coast. That's where it will be wettest. Many spots through here could see well in excess of an inch of rain coming down. A little fog for southern Cal, including L.A., even toward the Twin Cities, bits of Wisconsin, too. As far as the windy weather goes, that's pretty strong there at times across the middle. Nice day for the Northeast, very nice day. A little wet across parts of Florida, might be very stormy, bits of Oklahoma, even toward Kansas City, even Detroit might see an active day. For the western U.S., fairly quiet, maybe a storm or two toward Denver. You find out more at weather.com or America Online, keyword weather. Stay tuned.
For your summer road trip, La Quinta wants to chip in for the gas. We'll give you $10 cash when you check out. Look for this coupon in USA Today or at laquinta.com and call La Quinta. You stay, we pay.
Is your long-distance bill more than $25? Get Sprint 500 anytime. 500 state-to-state minutes to use any day, anytime for $25 a month. It's the smarter way to cut your monthly bill. Sign up now. Call 1-800-PEN-DROP.
Did you know the air in your home can be up to 5 times more polluted than air outside? That indoor pollutants like dander can aggravate allergies and trigger asthma? What can you do? Get the Filtrete Ultra Allergen Reduction Filter. It's up to 30 times better than all other 1-inch filters at capturing airborne dust, bacteria, and pollen. And it meets Health House guidelines. If you don't take care of the air in your home, who will? Filtrete filters from 3M.
Filtrete filters by 3M. Available at the Home Depot near you.
Take a look at that weekend now with our weekend outlook on the Weather Channel. If you're ready for the warmth, Southwest will see it again for this weekend. Big-time heat toward Phoenix, also toward Palm Springs. And around Vegas, too. Walking on Las Vegas Boulevard, a pretty warm experience for Saturday. In the Northwest, a little bit cooler, potentially a bit wetter, too. In the Northeast, well, we may see a few lingering showers Saturday, but hang on, Sunday may be a little wet. Northwest, a few showers, Seattle and Portland. Isolated storms across big chunks of Texas and elsewhere in the Four Corners. Might unfortunately see some rain chance toward Houston. We could use a break from that, but may see a little rain opportunity here. Maybe a bit of a problem too. Many areas still a lot of rain, well, water rather, standing. Also across the southeast could see a few scattered storms. Mid-Atlantic even on toward Philly, as well as on toward the Cape and toward Martha's Vineyard, Providence, Hartford, Boston. Maybe toward the city could see a little wet weather into Sunday. But wet weather is really good news for the Northwest. A few showers here. Just a smidgen cooler in the Southwest for our day on Sunday. Need to discuss the tropical situation. Also, talk about the severe weather prospects that linger across the Midwest for the overnight. Details with this next in Storm Watch.
You know it makes me want to shout, 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 shout.
New Shout has tough stain fighters that get out more tough stains better than spray and wash.
Yeah, yeah. Shout, you know it makes me want to shout.
In just one try.
Shout, you know it makes me want to shout.
Want more tough stains out the first time? Shout them out with New Shout. Jesse Johnson, a family company.
When a weather disaster strikes, someone is always there to help. Project SafeSide urges you to help families in need of disaster relief. Outback Steakhouse is a proud sponsor of Project SafeSide, a national severe weather program.
If your ride is getting a little rough, you know where to go. Come on, George. Get to Meineke, buy one shotgun strut, and get a big 50% off the second one.
At Meineke, you won't pay a lot, but you'll get a lot.
Visit Meineke for all your exhaust, brake, and now maintenance service needs.
This week on Atmospheres, why some scientists say global warming may threaten an entire country's existence. And our own meteorologist Jim Cantori goes kiteboarding in Maui. Don't miss Atmospheres, Wednesday nights at 8 on the Weather Channel. Real people, real weather.
Oscar De La Hoya is training for his toughest challenge and most dangerous fight. To win his 5th world championship, he must work harder than ever and be tougher than the man who has the belt, super welterweight champion Javier Castillejo. The Quest, De La Hoya versus Castillejo, June 23rd.
The best seat in the house is in your house. In demand, you rule.
Does the Quest stop here?
Introducing the Stars Super PAC. It's #1 in new hit movies. You'll see new hit movies like Erin Brockovich, The Hurricane, The Cider House Rules, and more. The Stars Super PAC. It's #1 in new hit movies.
Right now, it's your local forecast on the Weather Channel.
Welcome to Storm Watch here at the Weather Channel. I'm Paul Emmick. We're here to take a look at some very stormy conditions still across the Midwest in around Mackinac Island, or Mackinac right now, Mackinac County and the UP of Michigan. Severe thunderstorm warning, and many across Wisconsin as well as into Iowa. Those are some of the stormiest spots. We'll look at those. First, we'll begin taking a look at the tropics as we begin with our tropical update. In a moment, we'll look at some of the severe weather, including Saline County, Nebraska, also Chippewa County into eastern upper Michigan. In the UP, still a very stormy time in place. Now, in the tropics, not a lot going on usually during the month of June. It's not one of the climatologically favored areas we often see development. Now, really, we just start to see a few into June, but of course it becomes a lot more likely on in toward August, September, and October. But you look to see where the tracks have been, where they often develop in June, very close to land. Even sometimes you'll see a big batch of convection. A few years ago, we had a big cluster of storms that moved across Louisiana over a weekend, pushed out over the water, took on tropical characteristics, then came back in as a hurricane named Danny. So we'll have to look closer to land and not so much further out. Now, into July, upper-level conditions becoming a little less volatile toward the survival of a system making the move, say from the Cape Verde region, kind of moving across from Africa, the southern coast there, and moving on. Some of the principal tracks getting a little further away from land masses, including parts of the Caribbean that might be a little more active into July. But again, usually in June, most develop very close to land. Look at the big picture of things here about the past 24 hours or so. As you look on toward the Gulf, not a lot going on for the Gulf region right now at all. Again, a very quiet time across the Gulf and the Caribbean. Nothing really looking that prime for development. A little bit of active weather, just a little wave kind of kicking through the windwards, but not a lot expected from that. Across the Pacific, not much happening, although continue to watch off the Pacific. Some storms that are popping up just because it's a little more favorable. The conditions are pretty ripe now for something to develop in the Pacific. Very common to see storms this time of the year, and not out of the question we could have a classified system. Anything that does pop up should be fairly slow to develop, but in a few days we could indeed have a system off the Pacific coast. Here's what's happening, the current weather coast to coast. Across parts of upstate New York, a little bit wet, also some rain into Florida. A few sprinkles, a little drizzle here and there, including around Colorado, including in toward Denver metro. May see a little drizzle here for a while. Across the Midwest, so that's where the problems are most noticeable. Still very volatile atmosphere in place. We have sufficient lift, we have enough moisture, we have enough instability, plus proper upper-level support. We're destined for a situation with severe weather chances. Wisconsin, still many spots across Wisconsin getting stormy. And I mentioned a moment ago, the UP of Michigan stormy too. UP, parts of Wisconsin, also a bit of Minnesota, a little bit of a tornado watch still in effect. Wisconsin, Illinois, Iowa, even northwestern Missouri, and in Nebraska. Severe thunderstorm watch here. Of course, many conditions favorable for severe weather, like incredible wind and also sizable hail. And think about this, too. Some of the storms that are pushing through, like the UP, moving 50 or 60 miles per hour. Even some of these cells in the 30 to 40 mile an hour range moving across bits of Iowa. So things are really pretty action-packed. I mentioned Mackinac County, severe thunderstorm warning. We got some big storms in Marquette. It's kind of moved on to our north and east. Still some soaking rain, though. Still very stormy at times across Wisconsin. Around the Twin Cities, quiet, but in toward Eau Claire and even Rhinelander, a few storms in our region. Look at this line right there, kind of collapsing in a hurry. Kind of interesting to watch the last few minutes. Kind of fueled up and then kind of, look at it, kind of getting together, getting stormy, and then the last few minutes starting to collapse a little bit, pushing into western Illinois. Kind of interesting to see things fall apart. We're away from our daytime heating by quite a bit. Pretty common. You see storms weaken a bit. Still a bit stormy around Cedar Rapids, a little longer. Mostly soaking rain, though. Northwestern parts of Missouri, even across Kansas, some additional storms. Some in Nebraska. Little wet, little bit wet. Into parts of Florida and across the western U.S. I mentioned just a few showers here and there. May see a little drizzle a bit longer in toward Denver. More on the active weather of our night next after local